I'm Joshua Taylor, a partner at Keystone Law Group, a probate firm in Los Angeles. Today, I will be discussing the Lis Pendens. The Lis Pendens, which is also referred to as a notice of pendency of action, is a tool frequently used by probate attorneys to secure their client's potential interest in an opposing party's real estate pending the outcome of a lawsuit or petition. It is a recorded document that notifies anyone seeking to potentially acquire an interest in a piece of real property that there is a pending claim affecting the title or possession of the property. While the Lis Pendens does not preclude a loan from being taken out against the property or the property from being sold per se, it can thwart prospective buyers and lenders. This is because anyone who acquires an interest in the property will be bound by the court's ultimate ruling in the underlying lawsuit. If a lender gives a loan or a buyer purchases a property after a Lis Pendens is recorded on that property, that transaction is subject to the rights of the party who recorded the Lis Pendens. This means that if the party who recorded the Lis Pendens is successful in their lawsuit or petition, they are able to receive their interest in the property regardless of the loan or sale. Next, we'll discuss the requirements for recording a Lis Pendens on real estate. Only parties with a real property claim in the underlying lawsuit can file and record a Lis Pendens against a real property. According to the California Code of Civil Procedure, for one to have a, quote, real property claim, cause of action in a pleading should affect either the title or possession of a specific real property or the use of an easement identified in the pleading. It is important to provide notice of a Lis Pendens once it is recorded. The California Code of Civil Procedure provides specific notice guidelines that must be followed in order for the Lis Pendens to be valid. If a claimant is merely attempting to secure the monetary value of the property as potential payment for a future judgment, a Lis Pendens is likely improper and may be expunged. California law allows a Lis Pendens to be expunged or removed from title for a couple of reasons. One ground a Lis Pendens can be expunged is if the claim in the underlying lawsuit was not a real property claim. Another ground a Lis Pendens can be expunged is if the claimant has not demonstrated the probable validity of their real property claim. So, even if a claimant has demonstrated they have alleged a real property claim, a Lis Pendens can still be set aside if the opposing party demonstrates that the claimant cannot demonstrate the probable validity of their real property claim. In order to defend against a motion to expunge, the claimant will have to introduce admissible evidence demonstrating that they are more likely to succeed on their real property claim than not. The second reason why a Lis Pendens can be expunged is if the court finds the property can be sufficiently protected by the posting of a bond, also known as an undertaking. Finally, a Lis Pendens can be expunged if the court finds that the real property can be sufficiently protected with the posting of an undertaking. Under former law, in instances where an undertaking can be used instead of a Lis Pendens, the amount of the undertaking should be enough for the prevailing party to reimburse the other party for potential damages, should they ultimately prevail in the action. The law has since been amended to say the amount of the undertaking can only be applied to claims for damages resulting from the expungement. So, even if all of the elements for recording a Lis Pendens are met, posting an undertaking is an effective method for expunging a Lis Pendens. While attorney's fees are often recoverable on a motion to expunge, it is not always clear which party will receive the award. The Code of Civil Procedure provides that the court shall award to any prevailing party the reasonable attorney's fees and costs of making or opposing the motion, quote, unless the court finds that the other party acted with substantial justification or that the other circumstances make the imposition of attorney's fees and costs unjust. Even if a Lis Pendens is withdrawn before it can be expunged, the court has the discretion to award attorney's fees based on a determination of which party would have prevailed and whether the Lis Pendens claimant acted with substantial justification in their withdrawal of the Lis Pendens. Misusing a Lis Pendens comes with substantial risks, including potentially having to pay the opposing party's attorney's fees and costs. For this reason, those moving to expunge a Lis Pendens should, if possible, propose posting an undertaking in an amount that would be sufficient to protect the interests of the recording party should the Lis Pendens be expunged. And of course, having a probate lawyer on your team is never a bad idea. This concludes Keystone's video on the Lis Pendens. Click on the link in the caption to schedule your free consultations. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to be notified when new content has been posted. Thanks for tuning in.